It's time to check back in on good old Solana after hitting that 125 to 130-ish targeted region from earlier this week. We were looking for a big pullback, perhaps even all the way down just below $100, and looks like we've gotten it thus far, plus a bit of a bounce. So the real question is this bounce it? Is it ready to continue on to new highs in this rally and just new all-time highs in the future, I suppose? Perhaps yes over time, but we'll also be looking at some Bitcoin action as well. So those are the topics of the day. Other than that, I want to welcome you back to the Eric Krown Crypto channel. It's nice little Friday morning as we wrap up the last week of the year of 2023. An up only a year, despite the looming recessions, but soon enough we'll have a looming bull market, right? It goes it's something like that. Anyways, I'm getting all confused in my mind just trying to figure it out as to how that would work, but we'll get to that when the time does indeed come. It's been a nice 2023, and of course we still got our sale going on the Krown trading application, or sorry, not the Krown trading application that was retired, the Krown trading website, which there is a link to in the description below. And of course, most importantly there, I do want to let you know that yes, indeed, the Krown Quant automation is on sale as well for a reduced price, and that actually will let you not just automate your backtesting and strategy development, but also automate the execution of your trades if you so desire as well. All right, sweet. First things first, before as we jump into it, I want to follow up on or get into a Solana signal over here. This was posted in the MetaSignals Discord, and you can of course get these updates for free as well. They do post some of them, not all of them, of course, because it's like can't just have everything free. It's no way to run a business, actually, especially one that I'm invested in. I mean, I'll be looking at that like, hey man, what's going on here? But and yes, indeed, I have invested in this business, but yeah, as far as Solana goes, there was a 45-minute buy signal on this one, which did get the move from about 101 or just above 101 all the way to the targeted third region, or just under it right now, of 109. So far so good on that one, and it is going to play hand in hand with our analysis today as well. Also, I do want to let you know that MetaSignals, which is selling their NFT, which gives you lifetime access to their services like this and future things as well, which actually will also include their own version of automated trading, is going to be on pause after the 800th is minted. And right now, if I check over here, there's 28 left. Shit, just a couple hours ago there was 30 left. Not bad. All right, there's the FOMO. No, just kidding, of course. If you're not interested in something like this, don't get it. If you are, maybe consider it. All right, sweet. So let's get into it right here with Solana. As far as the daily statistics go, the interesting thing about Friday is that Friday is, statistically speaking, the most likely to close positively for Solana at 63.5% of, or sorry, not 60. How am I getting this wrong? Like, it's literally right in front of my fucking face, but maybe my brain is so damn dead today trying to figure out that looming bear market. Why can't I figure out this looming bear market? I don't understand. You just don't understand interest rates, Krown. It's true. Friday, yes, 64.5% of all Fridays in Solana's history have closed positively from open to closure, with an average return of 4.5% on those positive closing days, and on the days that it did lose, lost an average of about 4% actually. So this is by and far away the most likely to be bullish day for Solana. We already seen a pretty decent bounce for Solana as well. I think on the daily here we have seen from open to current price about a 4% bounce, so a little bit under that average, but a long day left to go at 16 hours, 17 minutes, and 27 seconds left. But ultimately, what am I trying to say is that Friday would be a great day, especially at the end of the year, to produce the impetus and likely small continuation for a bit of a bounce on Solana. We also did see that this sell signal over here, based off of the Oracle Pro, did get its first profit-taking metric right here, based off the average take profit, meaning that on average, when you get this sort of a setup, this is kind of what we do expect. That was yesterday. Yeah, yesterday, midday for myself over here in Finland. So I would say that this particular signal over here probably going to be done. And when I do see a take profit like this, it's typically a good indication for at least a bounce. In some cases, a reversal as well, but at least a bounce. And to be fair, thus far we have seen a pretty decent bounce, about $100 to, well, $108, $109. So not bad. It's not of course the same thing as a buy signal on this particular indicator. It's a completely different algorithm, the previous things that we looked at with the meta signals. But ultimately, when I look at something like this, it's indicating that, hey, the short-term downside is over. Short-term. We're not talking about medium-term in this case. And bounce is likely to emerge from this after it plays around sideways, I suspect. So moving on to the next thing, I do want to get into the daily time frame over here, not the 2-day time frame, but the daily time frame. We did see that the daily time frame on the HPDR bands has come all the way down essentially to the median and produced a bounce off there as well, which was essentially my target based off of the the topping behavior that we did see. Was this Monday? Yeah, it was actually Monday. Okay, so it was this week. All right, my whole mental model of time is like, I don't know why, but it's just completely whack, especially recently. Anyways, my point is on this one is that Solana can continue to bounce quite easily into the end of the year. Anywhere into the low teens is fair game. Probably unlikely to happen today. If it is going to happen, most likely Saturday or Sunday, with the bounce basically starting today. But the real question is this a bounce and likely to, tip back on over and come further to the downside? Or is this a bounce getting ready for continuation of the prior trend to new highs on the trend? Well, I would say that first and foremost, that it is very obviously a bounce, but there are serious concerns about this being any sort of a bounce that will produce long-term continuation before a greater pullback emerges. Why do I say that? Well, going over here, we can see on the daily time frame, there are some pretty major drives of bearish divergence on the daily, of course. If we go to the 2-day time frame, there is also, let me get rid of this. There is also 1, 2, 3 drives of bearish divergence come off the last few highs. These were highs that were witnessed back in middle of November when Solana was trading at like $60 and $73 in early December, respectively, compared to the over $100 highs that we're witnessing as of right now. And if we go to the 3-day time frame, what else do we see? Also the same sort of bearish divergence. So ultimately, I would still be saying that Solana, while it does, might even carry the short-term bounce to like 111, 113 region, it's still most likely to open up 2024 on a continuation of this overall pullback. Probably if I was just giving my personal opinion on it, probably somewhere between $75 to $85. Again, remember, in the grand scheme of things, first off, how much did Solana basically rally without any real major pullbacks? It rallied like 500% over the course of, the last 2.5 months since middle of October. Pretty fucking big, man. It also basically hit the 786 fib here, which we were kind of cognizant of for a likely high. It actually didn't get exactly to it. That was about 129. Solana got up to about 126 and change, but fair enough. Or maybe I'm wrong and I should die. Fair enough as well. I'm sure that there will be some people out there, as there always are. And more power to you, sir, or Zer, who knows? But yes, in this case, Solana coming back down, from these regions to open up 2024 probably is going to be, in my opinion, a major opportunity. Long term, is Solana done, for the upside, especially coming into 2024? Very unlikely not. But it can play out a major pullback here. Again, coming in from the high of about 126 down to 75, that's a 42% retracement. If it gets to about 85, that would be about a 35% retracement. And that's, again, essentially what I'm thinking. So somewhere between about 75 to 85. 75 is going to be the 618 fib here. 85, I'm sure, is one of our major regions on the daily HPDR. Yeah, it's going to be coming in at the bottom of this 80% range right here. And also kind of like the last major breakout that we did see on the 21st of December. So, big numbers coming in from there. But ultimately, going back into it right here, that likely is going to be an opportunity. So while short term, again, bounce can carry on for a little bit more, 111 to 113 is not out of the question. I'm not saying it's going to get there, but I suspect that it probably does get, it probably gets something like this, right? Something like that, boom, and then comes back down, if I had to guess. So short, like very, very short term today, actually probably comes back down, like I said. More short term, like coming into the next few days / early next week, probably carries on with a little bit of a bounce and then keels on over from there. Of course, what else can we look at here? Yeah, I wanted to bring up this chart as well, a chart that I have not looked at in quite some time. But for Solana in particular, there is something really interesting here. So I'm looking at the 5-day time frame chart. I'm looking at 5-day BBWP, which is another volatility indicator. And in this case, I found some very interesting, or at least I thought it was interesting. Maybe you might not. But basically, what we've seen here is or if I blow this up, is what we've seen and what we're looking at are extremes on that volatility metric, and I marked them off with the green vertical bars as you have seen in the past. And volatility being direction neutral does just imply major highs and major lows, and in this case we can see that it's been pretty damn good at that throughout the history of Solana. When volatility gets extremely high, you're probably around a major high or a major low. Now we can see this particular read over here, which is what Solana put in, in the past month, and we can see that it hit some pretty extreme levels. I mean, above 80 percentile on a weekly or a 5-day weekly time frame, basically, is going to be considered, critical. Is going to be considered severe. Anytime that we have seen this in the past, these have, been around major highs. Yeah, sometimes we do see things, continue upwards and onwards for some time, as we did see over here on the, on the current all-time high, and we did see over here again in the February of 2021 rally. But it's a good indication that, long term, it's going to go into a sideways consolidation, which can continue over time. We saw that over here. But that consolidation, for reference that I'm pointing at right now, lasted all the way from April to August. So I can't count those months in my head very easily. I think, actually I can, 4 to 7. So that's about 3 months. That's a long time. Even this one over here in February, that was still about 2 months to April before it did break out again. So in this case, right now, we have almost a fractured relationship in the way that volatility is acting. And as we can see in the November of 2023 portion of this rally, where Solana was getting up to $60 for the first time in a while, it did hit that extreme level on BBWP and, did continue up a little bit more. Eerily similar. Very, very similar to what we saw back on over here in February of 2021. Trade sideways for, about a month or a month and a half, and then continues up for new highs, and then big consolidation for about 3 months, and then boom, your last explosive rally for that year and creating, the all-time highs. And in this case, I think that we're witnessing something extremely similar, especially with the way that the 5-day stochastic oscillator is positioned as of right now. You can see it's in the extreme critical zone. It's getting ready to cross down freshly on this next period, which will cross officially below 112.5, basically. And how long actually was this consolidation right here? Yeah, about a month. So a little bit less than what we saw over here. It doesn't need to be exact, but, comparable, certainly. So realistically, again, Solana might spike around this region, maybe, can take some time, but over the next 2 to 3 months, I really would be looking for Solana to trade sideways and down, probably play out a similar relationship to that. Again, even the 5-day stochastic oscillator was very similar over here, making a high on that first move, making the second high right here, boom and boom, same thing. And again on the all-time high, by the way, as well. But volatility was significantly different, just for what it's worth. But in this case right here, Solana long-term very likely does continue towards the prior all-time high over a long enough time period, and probably new all-time highs as well. I think that's very, 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 very likely. But that's much further down the road. What's most likely in this Q1 of 2024 is that Solana, being one of the major leaders of this market, being one of the major first movers and most significant movers as well, is likely going to be trading sideways in a range. You're going to see big moves, probably between the current high and maybe like 75 or 85. And that's probably going to be most of the next 2 to 3 months. So to put, more realistic expectations in hand, it's like the very, very short term. Do we really care about a move to like 111, 113? If it even happens at all, I don't know. That's a question for you to answer. Maybe you're trading the short-term timeframes. Fair enough. More power to you. Long-term, is there likely going to be a better entry at hand? Yes. From what we've seen in probabilistically thinking, yeah. So that's reasonable to be looking for. Anyways, moving on now, let's go into some Bitcoin action. We haven't looked at that today. Yesterday, we were looking at still kind of a rangy day. Bitcoin still maintaining above that Tuesday, the 26th low, which I do think, gives it a little bit of a hopium to the boulas in the short term. But the way that yesterday closed, was pretty unhelpful, to be honest with you. It doesn't really do all that much for me to be bullish or bearish. In fact, in this case, if anything, Bitcoin probably in the short term will test a little bit more of the downside, and actually would rescind one of my statements yesterday. I think that was premature to be making. I was wrong to make it, in that if Bitcoin closes below Tuesday's low, which was 41,600, then that would be a confirmation of a reversal here, back down below $40,000, probably towards like 37, 38. I would not say that after reanalyzing that. It would still have to be Monday the 18th low, which is 40,500, and at that point, probably looking at a move back down to like 37, something like that. But for right now, Bitcoin, does Bitcoin pull back a little bit more? Yeah, actually do think so. I think that it will test some more downside in the short term, maybe closer to $41,000. Again, I don't know if that's like a severe move to people out there. Probably not. But ultimately, it's the same thing as what I've been saying this past week. Basically, ever since, what was it? Thursday the 21st. Look, Bitcoin had its chance to continue over here to new highs for this year. Once that rejection happened, sideways and down was the name of the game, and Bitcoin more or less not doing all that much coming into the end of the year. Realistically, you're probably gonna have to wait until the second week of 2024 before a real direction is chosen. Still, I'd have the same sort of continuation points for Bitcoin above 44,000. What is this, like 44,350 on a daily closure? Yeah, upside towards 47 or 47 plus is very, very likely. Bitcoin below Monday the 18th low at 40,500. Expect corrections down to like 37-ish, give or take a few bucks. I still favor the overall upside just based off a current trend. It's always going to be, the best way to be going off it. It has kind of kept you safe the whole, basically the whole year. But in this case, it probably just gonna be looking at sideways, man, with short-term downside, if I had to guess. So yeah, I think that's a good place for me to be leaving off on this particular video. I just realized that it is much longer than what I intended for, but that's okay. We can do a little bit of a longer video for today, and I'll be signing off on that note. As always, I want to wish you the best. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully tomorrow. Saturday. The fuck, man. All right, take care. Have a good Friday. See you Saturday.